The year is 2024. Do you know where your children are? Actually, no. Wait, I think I'm getting my introductions mixed up. Let me try again. Rewind. The year is 2024. What have you been reading lately? Yes, more like it. Right? What have you been reading for the past quarter of a century? Or nearly a quarter of a century, depending on how you decide to count your centuries, right? We are almost, let's say we are a quarter of the way through the 21st century. And already some people are starting to make lists of the century, best of lists, as though we've gone through the entire 100 years. Ridiculous, maybe. Definitely a bit premature, yes. But fun nonetheless, right? I mean, why not? Everybody loves lists, right? So why not take a crack at the best books of the century so far? And we're doing this because the New York Times a couple of months ago decided to publish their 100 best books of the 21st century, right? According to the New York Times, I don't think I've read 100 books of the century, not even in the past 25 years. 100 books of just this one century, I don't know. That sounds like a lot. I read well over 100 books in the past 25 years, but from just this one century, that's tough. So what we're gonna do instead is count down my top 10 of the century. Okay, books I've read. The best books I've read from this century. Top 10. And we're gonna see how they compare to the New York Times list. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of differences, right? We do differ quite a bit. But here we go, let's see. Best books, top 10 of the past 25 years. And again, 25 years, some people would say that we're only 24 years into the century. I myself think that we are indeed only 24 years into the century. I like to count the beginning of the 21st century with 2001, not just because I am class of 2001, right? Birmingham High School, home of the Braves. They will always be the Braves to me. We changed mascot, I think, after my freshman year to the Patriots. It's gonna always be the Braves, the last of the Braves, class of 2001. So it's not just that. It makes more sense to me. You know, it's like when you're born, you're not 1 year old, right? You're 1 year old after 1 year. So the century, it starts with 2001 after a year has passed, right? From the year 2000. Some people decide to count it from the year 2000. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It will matter when we get further down the list. But for now, top 10 of the 21st century so far. Okay? So my number 10 is from 2011. This is a debut novel by Andy Weir, and it's called The Martian. Yes, right? There was a hit movie directed by Ridley Scott, starring Matt Damon. The movie was aight, but the book's really good. The book is really good. The book is intense, right? I love how the character says, I'm going to science the shit out of this. And yeah, there's a lot of science. It's very hard science fiction, and I loved it especially because I was going through a difficult moment, reading wise. I was between jobs. Kind of some things were a little bit murky in terms of the future, and I hadn't been reading a lot. And then I just picked up this book. And I sped through it, like 2 days. Loved it. I loved it. So that comes in at number 10. Have I read better science fiction? Yes. From this century, I don't know. I've read a lot of good science fiction, definitely. But this one, like I said, it just caught me, and it really got me out of that reading slump. And I just remember I enjoyed it so much. Couldn't put it down. I could not put it down. So it cracks my top 10. Definitely. This one's from 2011, The Martian. And here we have The Martian cover. I don't know, Sarah, where you want to put it, but The Martian by Andy Weir. Here's the movie poster starring Matt Damon. And like I said, the movie's all right. But if you enjoyed the movie, you are definitely going to love the book. There's so much more going on in the book. And it's cool seeing how he explains everything. You know, he's like the space MacGyver. So that's always fun. Number 9. Number 9 is from 2014, and it's another novel that I remember I could not put down. This is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. And yes, there was a series recently. I think a series came out last year or this year. No, I think last year, towards the end of last year, starring Dr. House. Damn it. It's starring Dr. House. What's his name? Hugh Laurie. And the series, it's a limited series. I thought it was pretty disappointing. I was excited for it. It was disappointing. But the book is great. The book is, again, I had a lot of fun reading it. I read through it in just a few days as well. What's this guy doing? Sorry. I'll address that in just a bit. But, so I would be on the bus or the subway, and I just keep on reading it. I couldn't put it down. Total page turner. And really sad. So it's a really sad book, but beautifully written. I really like the style, the prose of this guy, Anthony Doerr. I think it was a debut novel as well. I'm not sure. Regardless, a couple years ago, he wrote another novel. He published another novel, Cloud Cuckoo Land, and I'm a little bit torn between the two. Like I remember how much I enjoyed reading this book. Like I had a really good moment in life reading this book. But Cloud Cuckoo Land is also really, really good. For now, though, my top 10 of the past century from 2014, I'm going with All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Check it out. This one I've recommended quite a lot. All right, so that's it. Number 8. So I was thinking about the books that I've been reading, that I've read from the past 25 years, and that are from the past 25 years. And I was thinking, what is some good nonfiction that I've read? And definitely the best nonfiction that I've read from this century comes from Stephen Greenblatt, right? Leading Shakespeare scholar, just literature scholar in general. And he had, the first book I read by him was The Rise and Fall of Adam and Eve. And it's an exploration of the history behind the story of Adam and Eve. And it's really, really good. And I was kind of torn between that one. But in the end, my choice for number 8 goes to The Swerve. The Swerve, or How the World Became Modern. And it's the story. It's about this book called On the Nature of Things by Lucretius, and it's a ancient Latin book, which is found by. It's found by by someone during the Middle Ages, and it changes history. It said like this, but the finding of this book, of this ancient text, makes the world modern. And Stephen Greenblatt, just again, it's non-fiction, but you read through it as though it were a best-selling novel. Good stuff, great stuff, both of them. Rise and Fall of Adam and Eve and The Swerve. But for number 8, I've gone with The Swerve. This one's from 2011. We got the cover here. Pulitzer Prize winner, right? That also says something. That means something. It means a lot. And yeah, so I read The Rise and Fall of Adam and Eve, and then I read this one, and I want to keep on reading more Stephen Greenblatt. He has the Hamlet in Purgatory, another one about Shakespeare, Will in the World, about Shakespeare, and everything he writes, everything he studies, even his essays, his articles. Yeah, it's well worth it. It's getting a 3.87 on Goodreads. Disregard that, honestly, ignore it. This is at least a 4.5 star book. So that's number 8. Number 7 comes from 2001, and I loved it so much. I had also a really good time. Cracked me up, made me cry. The book has everything. It's by Jan Martel, and it's Life of Pi. Yes, that Life of Pi with Richard Parker. I'm sure you guys remember it. The movie was great as well, directed by Ang Lee. But the book is, like I said, it has everything, right? It has tigers, and it has a bunch of different gods, and it has whales and hurricanes. Well, storms, at least. I don't know if there's no hurricane, but storms, and you've heard of it. Maybe you've watched the movie. And it's also a debut novel. This is also a debut novel about this kid who gets shipwrecked, and it's surviving on a life raft across the Pacific alongside a Bengal tiger named Richard Parker. And the ideas he has along the way, the relationship, the friendship he forms eventually with the tiger, the conclusions he reaches about religion and life and fate, and it's a really funny book too. At least it made me laugh quite a bit. Definitely worth it. I actually taught it for my sophomore literature class a few years back. I wanted to include some contemporary lit, and I went with Life of Pi. Some students liked it. Most students did not. No one really loved it, and I thought they would. But here I am again, recommending it, and still, for me, it's a must. This comes in at number 7. I forgot to mention all the light we cannot see. Damn it, I forgot to put it here. All the light we cannot see appears in the New York Times 100 best books. Why didn't I write it? Let me just look for it once more, because I have here that my next books, they all made it onto the list, and I was pretty sure that this one as well, but I did not write it down. So let's see. And no, it did not make it. Wow, it didn't make it to the list of 100 best books of the century so far. I think it really deserves that some spot on this New York Times list. If not this one, then at least his other book, Cloud Cuckoo Land. No, it's not. It's not on it. How dare they? Wow. It did make it onto the readers list, but not the Times list. All right. Well, guess I don't know what I'm talking about. Life of Pi did not make it, but our next book at number 6. My number 6, according to the New York Times, this one comes in at number 26, and it's from 2001. And it's Atonement by Ian McEwan. Another tearjerker. Beautiful prose. Beautiful, moving, heart-wrenching story. I read it also very quickly. I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks some years back. And this is one of the books I read. And it made Ian McEwan one of my favorite contemporary authors. Yes, it's that good. Right? This was the first book I read by Ian McEwan, and like I said, he turned into one of my favorites instantly. And I've read a few of his other stuff. Nothing so far as good as Atonement, but he writes really good. He's great. And the story's really good. Like I said, the prose, the style. The characters, these characters. One of the characters, the protagonist, is such a bitch, like such a real bitch. You cannot help but hating her. And in the movie's good. The movie's actually quite good. It's worth it. I mean, the book is obviously far better, but the movie's good. The movie stars this Irish actress, Irish, I think, from Little Women, with the unpronounceable name. I don't want to say it because I don't want to sound like an idiot not knowing how to pronounce her name, even though it's honestly like a difficult name. Let's just call her Miss Ronan, right? So Miss Ronan plays this bitch in this movie, in this adaptation, and I hated the actress for a while just because of that. I mean, that's how good she acts. That I hated the actress just because I hated the character. I don't anymore. I love her work. Lady Bird, obviously Little Women. Can't think of something a little more recent, but she's really good, really talented. But the character, oh my god, the character you just want to strangle. So this one comes in at number 26, Atonement, also really good. And the next one, number 5. Number 5, according to the Times, is 28 for me. This is it, top 5. From 2004 by David Mitchell, Cloud Atlas. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. There's a movie the movie actually has what I still think could be one of the best trailers ever. One of the best trailers ever for the movie. The movie, though, was not bad, but after that trailer and after this novel, the movie was disappointing. From the Wachowskis, starring Tom Hanks, and it has a good cast, but just didn't cut it for me, especially after that trailer. But the novel, my god, the novel, right? So you have these 6 stories at different moments in history. We go from the 1800s all the way to some post-apocalyptic future. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's these 6 stories. What is very cool about it, what is very original and makes it very fun to read, is that each one of these stories is written in a different genre, right? So you're basically getting these 6 little, you can call them mini novels within the book. They're all interconnected somehow, but it just goes to show the talent that David Mitchell has, right? As a writer, as a creative artist, to be able to, capture the essence of each one of these genres into these separate 6 stories. There's a lot of talent there, very, very original work, and the story is great. The characters are great. It's got a bunch of good lines. I remember a line in particular that appears, throughout the novel somehow. And one of the underlying themes is this idea that through every little kindness, we birth our future. Something kind of like that. I've been wanting to reread it for quite a while now. And a student of mine just got it, thanks to a recommendation of mine. He hasn't read it. He should. If you're watching this, you should. All of you should. But I do want to reread it, and yeah, that's number 5. The rest are, it's tough. I had a hard time ordering, especially these last 5. So at number 4, this one is from 2005 by the Japanese-English Nobel Prize winner Kazuo Ishiguro, Never Let Me Go. And according to the Times, this one comes in at number 9. Number 9, wow. Take that, New York Times, it's my number 4. So suck it. We did the last chapter episode, and in fact, it was the first collaboration. It was the first time we had a special guest on the show some months ago with my good friend and colleague Silvia Barrientos. We're still working on that. That was the first, like I said, the first time we had a guest. We were still starting out with Litscapes. It was only the 3rd episode. Yeah, it was the 3rd episode, the 3rd last chapter episode. It's in the works still. It's in the works, right? But when it finally drops, you are going to love it. Sylvia chose that book, and it's an absolute gem of a novel. This one is my number 4. Man, and like I said, it was tough leaving it at 4. It could have been higher. I'm sure it's going to be higher on many lists. But it was one of my most fun episodes so far. Not just, of course, because we did it with Sylvia as a special guest. That was a lot of fun. But the book is just fabulous. Check it out. And I saw the movie recently. No. The movie, I do not recommend it. So that's number 4. Then coming in at number 3, and according to the New York Times, this is number 46 from 2013 by Donna Tartt, The Goldfinch. Yes, right? Another one of those bestsellers. And this is also a Pulitzer Prize winner. I want to say Booker. No, it's a Pulitzer Prize winner. So good. Just in every sense. This is one of those books. It's kind of long. Let's see how many. Yeah, over nearly 800 pages. But you never feel that at any point does it stall. Never does it feel too dense or too slow. It's like a perfect novel, really. And it's tough to say that, considering that Donna Tartt has her debut novel, The Secret History, might even be better. I have a hard time choosing between the two. Obviously, for this list, I've gone with The Goldfinch because Secret History is from 1992, if I remember correctly. So it doesn't make the cut. But they're both extraordinarily good, right? Both in terms of style, the prose, and the story. The plots are really, really good. Again, which one is better? I feel like I like The Secret History. I like the story more. This one may be a more polished work. Like, you can definitely see that Donna Tartt has, she had this growth as a writer, and she writes better in The Goldfinch, but that shouldn't diminish anything from The Secret History. Both are highly recommended. The Goldfinch is, like I said, just extraordinarily good. And the movie is good. I did enjoy the movie. Again, let's put, please, Sarah, right, the cover, the movie poster of The Goldfinch. The movie's good, but the novel is just way too good for any movie to come close, any adaptation. All right, and we've made it to the top 2 books of the last 25 years, according to yours truly. According to Litscapes, number 2 is from 2011, Italian novel. I think this is the only. I know it reflects poorly on me, being so English heavy. This list. This is the only book in translation. It's in Italian originally, and it's called My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. L'amica geniale. Number 1, because this is from a 4-book saga. The saga is called, in English it's called the Neapolitan novels. They take place mainly in Naples. The main characters are from this slum in Naples. And I cannot say enough about this book, and I won't even try to. We can allow the New York Times to say it for us. This is the number 1 book. This is the number 1 book of the last 25 of the 21st century so far, according to the New York Times, and not just according to the Times. This was also the number 1 book according to the readers. And a couple of the other books, again, it's a 4 novel series, and I think 1 or 2 other books from the saga make it onto the list. And honestly, you could choose any one of the books. They're all that good, but My Brilliant Friend is the one that starts it all. And this book single-handedly made Elena Ferrante my favorite contemporary author. No one knows for sure who she is, right? This is just a pseudonym. But who cares? Who cares? I mean, as long as she keeps writing, right? Everything she does, everything she writes is just beautiful, majestic. I'm gonna go so far as to say it's majestic. Yeah, it's that good. And I also read it during a hospital stay. Not the same time. I know it feels like I've been in and out of hospitals. No, well, yeah, but same accident, different surgeries, different hospital stay. I read this book. I read it, like the first few pages kind of wore me out. I wasn't in the best state of mind, of course. I was in a lot of pain. But then I gave it another shot, like a couple of days later, and I blazed through the entire saga. Yeah, like it took me maybe a week to read 4 books, and they're long. All of them are well over 300 pages. Semi mid-length. But everything about this book, everything. I think we mentioned it. I mentioned it at some point. I think during our queer literature episode, in parenthesis episode, I read a passage from this one, from My Brilliant Friend. There is a great adaptation One of the best adaptations I've ever seen from a novel is this one by HBO. You will find it on Max Plus, whatever it's called. The fourth season, based on the fourth novel, is about to drop in a couple of months. I'm really excited about that. The adaptation is great. Really, really, really good. Everything about it. The setting, the art direction, the acting, the soundtrack. If you, for whatever reason, don't want to read the book, and you're missing out. If you don't, you are seriously missing out. But if you don't want to read the book, check out the series. You're not going to regret it. But anyhow, I had a really tough time between this one and the next book. It's like I said, in general, these last five, my top five, have been really hard to order. But these last two could have gone either way. It was nearly a coin toss. Nearly. Elena Ferrante has become my favorite contemporary author, yes, but what I consider, after giving it some thought, sorry, I just got a cat, and it's late at night and she's going crazy. And as soon as I can, get my hands on her, I do want to introduce you guys to her. I still don't have a name. Maybe you guys can help me out. Maybe in the comment section you can leave suggestions for her name. I would love something, of course, literary or literaturistic, as my students would say. But yeah, we'll come back to her. So, number one, all right, according to Litscapes, from the year 2000, and this is another one of the reasons why I'm glad we're going with, the century starting in the year 2000, because otherwise this book wouldn't have made the cut, and I needed it to meet the criterion of the cutoff date. So it's from the year 2000, from September in 2000. And in the New York Times list, this one comes in at number 29, which I feel it is completely unjust and absurd. This should be top 10. At top 5 at least. So my number one, by Helen DeWitt, is The Last Samurai. Another debut novel. And it has nothing to do with the Tom Cruise movie that came out a few years later. Haven't even watched it. I refuse to watch any more Tom Cruise. That's just me. Mission Impossible? Oh, no, thank you. Not for me. But this Last Samurai. Okay, so to be fair, it has nothing really to do with feudal Japan. The title is an allusion to the Akira Kurosawa movie of The Seven Samurai. One of the best films, I would say, and I think any film critic, any film scholar, anybody who knows about film, any cinephile will tell you, one of the best films of all time, Seven Samurai. So there's a lot of that in this novel, and the title comes from that. And this novel is very intellectual. So I think that makes it a little bit hard to read. I could recommend to everyone, my brilliant friend, The Goldfinch, All the Light We Cannot See. The Last Samurai, however, this one's a little bit tougher. Yeah, but if you can find a taste for that style, for the mathematical and linguistic challenges it poses, you're gonna have a lot of fun. It's a great story. One of the most beautifully written books one I've ever read, and that's why it makes it to my number one, The Last Samurai. I haven't read anything else by Helen DeWitt, I have to admit. I've been wanting to. She has, I think she has one more novel. and one short novel around there, as far as I know. And yeah, I should definitely take a look at the rest of her work. But I feel like anything would be just disappointing. You know, after reading The Last Samurai, I feel like if I read anything else by Helen DeWitt, it's not like Ian McEwan, it's not like Elena Ferrante or Kazuo Ishiguro, that I feel that I wanna read their entire, bibliography. No, with this one, it's that good that I fear that anything else I read by her is not gonna compare. That's just my prejudice, and it shouldn't be, I admit. But that's it. That is okay. So this one's number 29. New York Times. What were you thinking? And the readers. I don't know if the readers even mentioned this book. Look, let's go quickly, very quickly. We still have a couple of minutes. Let's go quickly through the top 10 of the New York Times. So, number 1 is My Brilliant Friend, which is my number 2, and everyone should read it or at least watch the series. Number 2 is The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. Haven't read it. It says The Epic Story of America's Great Migration. I don't know. I might take a look at it at some point later. Next up is Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall. Now, Hilary Mantel is an author I really want to read. I don't know if I want to read Wolf Hall in particular, but no, you know what? The one I want to read is Hamnet. Is that? No, that's not Hilary Mantel. That's Maggie O'Farrell. No, sorry. But Hilary Mantel, yeah, I've heard very, very good things about her. Haven't read her. Next is The Known World by Edward P. James at number 4. Number 5 is Jonathan Franzen, Corrections. This one's from 2003. This one's been on my list for a while. Haven't read any Jonathan Franzen, but I feel like I have to. And this next one as well, at number what? Number 6 is the novel 2666 by Roberto Bolaño. This is a Spanish novel, and there's a couple of his on the list in the top 100, and I haven't read anything by Roberto Bolaño, but I feel like I should, and I really want to, and maybe one of these days for a last chapter episode. Then at number 7 we have The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. Again, I haven't read it, it's on my list. At number 8 is Austerlitz by W.G. Sebald. Definitely not interested in that one. At number 9, Never Let Me Go. And number 10, Gilead by Marilyn Robinson. Another one that I really want to read. This one's from a couple years ago, from 2021. And those are the top 10. Those are the top 10 according to the New York Times best books of the 21st century. I just want to mention real quick, at number 11 we have The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. I see this book on every best of list, and I read it. This is a Pulitzer Prize winner. I read it and it just didn't do it for me at all. Is it good? Yes. Did I enjoy reading it? Yeah, it had its moments. But to have it on every list at number 11 of the top 100? No. Someone's on crack here. Anyhow, the lists, check it out, everyone. Here's the link somewhere. No, you'll find the link in the description to the video of the New York Times 100 best. But that's my top 10. Let me know what you guys think. If you feel that one of these books shouldn't make it, if you feel that I've left out another one of your favorites, or some book that you feel deserves a spot in the Litscapes top 10. Let me know in the comment section. And as always, if you've enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, give us a like, right here somewhere, and share with everyone. Keep on reading, everyone. Thank you so much again for joining us, and I'll see you next time.